Hi, welcome back to Professional Caregiving. I'm Catherine. I have been a caregiver for more than 10 years for all kinds of people, young and old, typically developing and special needs. So I wanted to share something with you today. If you're looking for a new job or you're just kind of poking around, I've done lots of interviews and I have gotten lots of jobs. And so I wanted to share some things from the other side of interviewing, which is the fact that when you go to get a new job and you arrive at a family's house, you are interviewing the family or the center or the home as much as they are interviewing you. So I wanted to talk about a few things, and I'm going to look down at my notes that can really help you step back and decide whether this is going to be a good fit for you long term. It's not good to just jump at a job because you get it. So here are some things to think about when you go to get a new job. One, the obvious, do you actually have the experience required for this job? And one of the things in special needs is you can get hired with very little experience. Often families just want you to open your heart to their family member and they will train you. But there are a few things you can know about yourself, right? If you're not trained in medication administration or in general safety, maybe special needs is not for you. Maybe you need some additional training before you start. If you have specific training in, say, sign language, obviously it's great to use that training. But if you know about yourself that you intentionally don't have behavioral training because you don't like to work with behavioral problems, do not take a job that is heavy on unwanted behaviors, right? So pay attention to what you want. You're not just looking at what they're paying. You're not just looking at whether or not the hours fit, but you need to know, am I qualified for this job? And if I am qualified, do I want to do it? So the other thing, when you come into a family's home, pretty much right away, what I'll notice is the family culture. Do you feel calm there? Do you feel safe there? Did you have an easy time parking? Did the family, I've had families ask me not to park in their driveway because at the time I had an older car. Does that make you feel comfortable? Does the family make you feel comfortable? Can you tell anything right away about the family culture? This is really important to ask because family culture goes far beyond your own culture, right? Family culture is, do you sit down at the dinner table together? Do they watch TV? Do they keep their house warm or cold? Do they all share one bedroom? What is their style of discipline? These are the things that you need to know and gather in that interview because you want to be sure that you can come from that perspective. If you are a very traditional style person, you don't want to be hopping up into somebody's house where they're practicing attachment parenting or something a little more new. And likewise, the other way around, if someone is going to ask you to put their children in timeout and you come from a positive discipline background and more of a time in perspective, you need to know that right away because you do not want to be overstepping and you do not want to be going against a family's culture. It's really important as a caregiver coming into someone's home that you feel comfortable maintaining what they have in place. You're not there to change them. Another thing, are the expectations clear? And if they're not, clarify them. I'm the kind of person who needs to know what the family wants from me and what is expected of me long term, but I also want to clarify what I expect from them. So I will do a whole different video on this, but one of the really important things to know in caregiving is whether or not you are owed a W-2. And I'm not a tax professional, but I have had years of experience figuring this out. All I have to say is if you don't know whether you're owed a W-2, there are ways to find out, and I highly suggest you get that figured out before you walk into an interview, because it's really important that if you are owed a W-2 that you are getting a W-2, right? So that leads me into my next one is the contract fair? Is there a contract at all, right? So sometimes families will hire you without a contract. I've been hired without a contract. Early on was hired without a contract. It's not a good idea. And a contract doesn't mean that you are going to work for a family for a specified period of time. A contract just outlines the responsibilities and rights of everyone in the participation sphere. So you, the parents, and other family members. Generally, household workers are hired at will. It probably depends on your state what the laws are about contractual work, but basically what you're looking for in a contract will differ from person to person, but you do want to have some kind of written outline of whose responsibilities are whose, what the expectations are, and payment. It's really important to have something to fall back on. And a little other thing is pets. Do you like pets? This is a huge thing in caregiving. If you don't like pets, you may not be the right fit. Sometimes families want you to actually interact with their pets, take them out. Sometimes the pets are not your responsibility, but they become your responsibility by going to the bathroom in the house or getting in the way. It just depends. So you need to know whether or not you're comfortable with that. And the other thing is, are you comfortable with the level of driving involved? So a lot of positions will ask that you have a car and you're willing to drive the children or the adult or whoever is needing care. And that is totally up to you. Not every job requires it, and a lot of jobs provide vehicles. They just ask that you have your own to make sure that you're getting to and from work efficiently. But if you don't want the responsibility of driving someone in a work setting, don't accept an offer that requires it. Make very clear that you do not drive your clients. Make very clear what your expectations are. Again, it just goes back to this interview is about making sure you're right for each other. Not that you're right for them, but that they're right for you and you're right for them. So you just want to make sure that communication is open from the very beginning. If you have questions, ask them. Now is the time. You do not want to take a job that you have to drop in a couple of weeks, because the hiring process is really, really hard for families, and that is not a good look. So this is the time to decide whether or not you like this family, whether or not you feel comfortable with them, and what you'd like to do. Is there enough pay for what you'd like to do? So just ask yourself those questions. Pause before you take a job. Pause. Do not accept a job on the spot unless you are 100% certain it's right for you. Tell them that you are thinking about it. Tell them that you need to talk it over with your family before you can say yes, but you have positive feelings or something along those lines. But pause before you answer 100% of the time. So here was just some of the things I think about when I apply for jobs, and hopefully they can help you out. So thanks for spending time with me here. I'll see you next time.